Mr. Barbavera cheered, and he said, I can help with a rail system. I can read some designs and guides. It's a big project. It would take a lot of materials and other ways to clear out an abandoned mine shaft, but you need some good gear because they're pretty dangerous. You get lots of rails that would get expensive to craft. Right, I saw that. Remember we found an abandoned mine shaft once, and you recommended that I could go back to it. So yeah, Mr. Barbavera, I think long-term, maybe a rail system is something that would make sense. That way I could ride back and forth without getting lost and without doing all this stuff. Have I tried making a railway yet? No, Frog in a Tuxedo, I have not. Everyone has recommended that I do this, that I make a railway between this village and my original settlement at the very beginning of when I started playing. I never got around to it because basically it's too difficult. Like, I tried to get a villager from here back to my settlement, and he died along the way. What I would need to do is clear a clear defined path between the two, and then I could build the railway over water, whatever I need to do. But I just haven't gotten to do it yet. So, Derek is taking off over. Have a good night, Derek. See you later. The rail track is something that's way too complicated. Not that I never want to do it. The rail track is definitely something that I would like to do moving forward. And I think that we will do that as a project eventually, but it's not something that I can commit to now because I have to, first of all, gather enough rails to go from here all the way across the world map, okay? That's probably going to be like hundreds and hundreds of pieces of rails that I can't, I don't have them. So what I'm going to have to do is where I just showed you, that little underground cave, go down there, because that goes to the mine track segment, and just mine all those tracks and collect them. The rail track is something I will consider doing long term, but it's not something I can commit to in the short term. Let me harvest all this. Mr. Barbavera cheered. He said, I can help with the rail system. I already made some designs and guides. Oh, I already read this. Mr. Barbavera cheered. He said, a cool thing to consider would be to connect all those villages with a building rail system. I mean, maybe. I would want to go with the idea of the person who was the top contributor. I don't think that I would care enough about connecting all these little non-functional villages. You know, I think it'd be too much. Yeah, I could do it, but what's the point? Definitely, I think I want to try to make that rail card system. Because that would be really, so like right now I can say, oh, resources, let's just scoot right back to my main home base where we started all this and see what resources I have stored over there and compare that with what I have at the village and see what we have for a project. But instead it'd be like, oh man, it's an ordeal. It takes me 20-25 minutes to get back to my other place, and it's a hassle if I want to try to get back here, so I don't really bother with that. Remember, another long-term goal that I want to eventually do, which is probably going to take forever, is get enough minecart tracks to build a minecart track from this village all the way to my settlement, my original settlement. That way I can just get back and forth on a minecart rather than having to always walk or swim, take a boat or whatever. But that's probably going to take forever. I could imagine that taking like months to do, seriously. The next thing that was on the agenda, okay, was that the top contributor from 2 weeks ago had requested a couple of absolutely ludicrous things. First, they wanted me to build a minecart system across the entire map from this village to my hometown where I'd started in Minecraft a year ago. Now, here's the thing. I like that idea. That's something I've already talked about multiple times that I'm going to eventually do. That's something that's probably going to take an expanse of a month, if not longer, to work on. Remember, I'd have to basically go to, like, a mine, strip the whole mine out to get, like, broken rail track and everything. Go ahead and build this track across the land, clearing everything out, making sure no monsters are there, making a clear path, and then putting a minecart that works between it. You're talking, I would guess, that's probably something for a whole month. Like, that's a monthly goal. Okay, this month, that's my goal. That's what we're going to be doing. So immediately I dismissed that, and I said, there's no way I can do that. That's ridiculous. You know, that's insanely over the top. I've already said I'm not doing ridiculous things that are over the top that are going to take 5-6 streams to do. We did that with the bird. That didn't work. People were turned off. We want to have, like, nice chill Minecraft streams for the short term. See, rails, eventually, I do want to do rails. I think it would be cool to have a minecart that we can have move, to and from an area. Like, maybe have a minecart go off to where those woods are, where I harvest wood, or... Hey, I mean, it would be really cool to have a minecart go to and from the village, right, with the villagers, but I don't think we're ever going to realistically. That's going to be so complicated. It's such a pain in the ass. I don't think that's ever going to happen. That's right, AWC. Great. Eventually, what I'd like to do is make a minecart that goes from the village to my home and back. The problem is, it's so hard. It's so far. I've never even taken the same route when I go these places. But yeah, honestly, you know, I want to do that, but it just seems like it's like an insanely difficult, time-consuming undertaking to do it. Like, first of all, I have to build an insane amount of mine tracks, right? I have to clear a whole way. I'd have to find a way to make it all level so the minecart can travel on it. I don't know how viable it honestly would be. I'd love to do it, but I don't know if it's realistic for my capabilities and patience level. All right, Derek, have a good night. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate seeing you. You hanging out with me. I'm no longer... Oh, build a giant minecart system across the fucking world. Oh, do a mob grinder. Go to the nether and go through a nether fortress. No, I'm not doing any of this shit. This is insanity. That's not the whole point of the streams, okay? We still got a rail system to work on, but the rail system is not an immediate goal at all. It's been discussed that the rail system is going to be a long-term goal. It's going to take forever. I'll tell you right now, that rail system is going to take, like, all year for me to do. I got a clear path from the village all the way fucking down through all this shit that I'm going through right now that somehow's got to be flat so the rails will run on it. You know how long that's going to take? That's going to take a year.